Bring in Chris Swift of Swift Trading. He's based in Nashville and talk about all this. So we definitely had a start that was very weak in the knees here, Chris. Lots of overseas influence apparently on the trade, but things seem to have really calmed down a little bit.
They have. Good morning, Marlin. Some of the things that we're looking at right now is just this base that grains are building. We've been stuck in a range through most of the month of May. Now we are starting into June. Looks like this afternoon's crop progress report is going to show very good plantings for the soybeans. So since we got most of the corn out last week, most of the producers went out there and started laying in the beans this week. So all in all, we seem to be stuck in a very, very tight range here, and we get a little bit of dry weather and get some good growing, and unfortunately, it wouldn't surprise me to see us break this out to the downside.
Oh, really? Okay. Now, what do you think overall, where are we when you take a look at the technical picture here? For example, on the soybeans, we're talking about how they had a choppy open here this morning. But if you look at the longer-term picture, we can take a look at a 6-month chart here, for example, on the soybeans. Have they based out, do you think? Did they maybe take that out this morning, or where do you see us?
Well, looking at July beans right now, you're still well below last week's highs, and it does look like you're just kind of triangulating here just a little bit. We're in a bear market. I don't see anything really very strong about the bean market, and clearly the meal market would be the one, in my opinion, that if we saw something really going to happen in the beans, the meal market would probably lead the way. And they just set new contract lows on Thursday of last week, so I haven't seen much in that aspect that makes me want to turn very bullish.
But what about the weather influence on things like maybe the corn, like the new crop corn?
Yeah, I hadn't seen any real bad weather. I think the crop conditions are going to be excellent when we see them this afternoon. There has been some dry weather, primarily further west, that could encroach a little bit as it moves east, but right now it seems like with the little pop-up scattered showers we're getting across everywhere that most everybody's corn crop looks in pretty good shape.
Okay, Chris, we're going to take a break right here, and then we're going to come back in a little bit, and we're going to take a look at our livestock trade. We'll see if there's any bouncing around going on in that. And I'm glad you brought up the fact that we do get our new weekly crop progress report after the close today. We'll be back with Chris Swift after this. Well, we're talking with Chris Swift of Swift Trading Incorporated in Nashville, and time to focus now on the livestock side. We had a very bearish start on the grains, and we also had a very bearish start on the livestock. Now, the soybean market has recovered. In fact, all the grains have come off their lows. Let's see what's going on here in the livestock. Currently, we have the June live cattle now down $1.82. They're trading at $97.90, so they have come back about 80 cents off their earlier low, but we're still $1.40 off our earlier high. The August contract, $1.75 lower at $97.85 right now. So you have your first 4 contract months, at least $1 to the downside. Okay, now let's move on to feeder cattle. Here you have them all in the triple digits to the downside. We have August down $1.57 at $133.77. And now you have September down $1.25 at $134.50. That nearby August contract, it has rallied about $1.20 off its earlier low. But we're about 80 cents off our earlier high, too. So kind of stuck in the middle here right now on the feeders. On the lean hog trade, you now have most contracts over $2 lower. You have the nearby June down $1.80 at $55.05, July down $2.05 at $54.97. So do you think there's a possibility that we can maybe firm these markets up to where they'll be close to unchanged by the end of the day or not?
I don't think so. They might be able to, but the news out of China with Hong Kong and the restrictions they're putting on is very much an impact to our hog production here, and I think that's why we're seeing the hogs lower. Beef is a little bit different. Beef is pretty much all domestic, and it still has to do with employment. We have the facilities to be able to process all the product. What we seem to be doing is running low on people and employees to be able to maintain those processing plants. So until we can get that brought back up again, I think we're going to still be kind of just trying to dig ourselves out of this hole and not dig it any deeper.
What about the cattle numbers that are being run through the packing plants right now? I know there has been a backlog in the feedlots. How are we doing on that?
Still backing up. As best I understand right now, you're going to have to probably bring that kill up about 9,500 head over 635,000 head to be able to get through that backlog by December. So our biggest issue right now is we've yet to be able to get back up to 635,000 head. This week, we may actually top over 600,000. If by the third week of June we can get that up to 635, we stand a real chance of being able to get through this probably by into the first of next year.
So we just need a whole lot of barbecuing going on.
That's exactly what we need. Exactly.
Thank you, Chris. Good to hear from you. Chris Swift of Swift Trading here in Nashville. Janet, back to you.